for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero named Hawk.
You're listening to Reignite, a podcast about faith, but not how you'd expect. I'm Frankie.
And I am at AK Stormageddon.
The Viscount's Canary woes have not yet come to an end. Seamus has decided to convert to the Qun. While the Viscount wants to support his son, he is concerned about the stability of Kirkwall. He asks us to talk to Seamus and try and reach an accord, but Mother Patrice refuses to leave well enough alone.
Yeah, I didn't realize when you were mentioning that Seamus was a queer icon, it was so we could also indulge in a very queer trope. That's wonderful. Yeah, I love that for us.
Yeah. Okay, look. Is Seamus explicitly queer in the text, so to speak, of the game? No. Can you draw parallels between Seamus's journey with the Qun and also somebody who is challenging his own faith and exploring a different lifestyle, such as being queer? Yes, you can make those parallels. It is what we would call subtext.
Thank you. Thank you for that teaching lesson. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's almost like I'm getting a degree in this stuff.
Right.
But I just want to be very clear that what happens to Seamus does not fall strictly under bury your gays, because he is not explicitly gay.
Correct. But the way we view him and the gags we've been making along the way does lead into that trope.
Because of our interpretation, yes, that trope is something that we can discuss. But I do not want to very explicitly say, Dragon Age, look what you did.
I know. No, that's not true. Although, I mean, we're never wrong when it comes to what the character should be, a la, Tali, and what we'll talk about with Cassandra next season. Because, we know better than BioWare at this point.
Yes, 100%. Get me in that writer's room, y'all. Ugh, please, I need a job. Anyway. Let's start at the Viscount's Keep. This was a very short section of story.
Yeah.
I almost feel like these last 3 quests we could have bundled into one, but alas, alack, allay. Here we are. This is how I chose for us to do it.
Yes. Yeah, I can take no blame for the structure. That I can be blamed for a lot of things, but the structure of the podcast is not one of them.
You could possibly be blamed due to your inaction.
Fine.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. You're always just saying. Anyway, at the Viscount's Keep, we meet with said Viscount about his son Seamus, who has run off to join the Qun. And I was surprised here. I mean, the Viscount, as I've said many times, seems to be not a malicious politician. He seems to be someone trying to do his best, even if he's not making the best decisions at every moment. But in this moment and in this conversation, I did take note that while he wants us to bring his son back, he does say during our conversation he does want to support his son's choices and his freedoms, but this specific choice makes things very difficult for him in his position, and he just wants us to talk to him. He doesn't want us to necessarily drag him back kicking and screaming, but he knows that he'll listen to reason and wants us to at least attempt to talk to him first before taking any drastic action.
I made that same note because, set aside the politics, the Viscount is trying to be a good dad of a different generation. He recognizes my son deserves the ability to make his own decisions. He is a man. He is of age. I am mainly concerned about what this means for the city of Kirkwall and how that might impact us as people and how people might see us and might put us in danger. And that includes him. So he's navigating some very difficult pathways here, but all the while his main focus is protecting his son.
Yeah.
And he wants to support his son.
Yeah, and I like this. We don't always get to see this in fantasy, in, stories of kings and queens. There's often a lot more like politicking and like bravado, especially when portraying a male king or king-like figure. There's this want to make them feel quote unquote manly, whatever that means. But there is a sensitivity to the Viscount here that I really appreciate, and that I think is why I leaned into or liked his character earlier. I saw hints of this, and this is the most explicit we get to see him be vulnerable, besides the end of this mission, which we will get to. And I appreciate that. I just think it's diversity in storytelling. It's not something we see commonly, especially in these fantasy narratives with rulers like this. There's always this like hard edge that's always shown, and rarely a warmth or sensitivity, at least in the cliche stories.
He deserves the "you tried" gold star.
Right, exactly. Right, like still a king and a politician at the end of the day, but at least there is some want and care to try, especially when it comes to his own family.
Yeah.
And so
not the worst dad.
Right, which is, I mean, it's a pretty high honor in the world of Dragon Age to not be the worst dad,
Kirkwall's most okay dad.
Exactly. We should put that on a T-shirt for Case.
I would like that on a T-shirt.
Just for Case only. It's Kirkwall's most okay dad.
Yes.
Anyway, so from here we set out to the Canary compound, but on the way there we are ambushed by a bunch of thieves of unknown origin, which was interesting because I clicked on I think it's the dock is where the Canary compound is. Yeah. And then suddenly it loads in. And I went, well, this isn't the dock. Well, what's going on?
Did you have a moment where you were like, did I click on the wrong thing?
Correct. I was, because I've done that before.
I did the same thing.
I was like, what's happening?
We were in a different location. I was like, wait a minute.
This isn't right.
I didn't click on Darktown. What's going on?
Yeah, this is what happens when you play video games with late 30-somethings and early 40-somethings, is we can't even trust our own memory at this point.
Yeah, my memory is so bad. I was like, I really thought I clicked on the right thing. What happened?
Yeah, and so then you fight the thieves, and then in my case, we haven't said who we took with us. So I took Anders, Fenris, and Varric.
Those are my off-court buddies. Those are my babies. I bring them with me everywhere.
It's mostly because I didn't bring Isabella because I know she won't go into the Canary compound, and so that was a little bit of metagaming. Well, not necessarily. Hawk wouldn't drag someone where they knew they would fuck off anyway, so why bother? But yeah, so after we fight the ambush, Anders has some snarky comment about, if everything's on the up and up, why are we being ambushed? What, something else is amiss here.
Basically asking, okay, now who hired those guys?
Yeah.
The Viscount, the Canary, Seamus.
Yeah.
So I think it's less snarky, more, hey, obviously something's going wrong. Let's talk about the possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, that's Anders' tone, is like always like, well, this looks like it's going to shit. Why is that happening? Kind of which, he's our favorite sad boy for a reason.
I'm always in sad boy hours. At the Canary compound, the Arishok talks to us about Seamus and basically says, hey, I didn't force him into the Qun. He is a grown man. He can make his own decisions. Y'all are always giving me shit. I don't do anything except sit here. I'm not going to turn people away because that would be pretty shitty to do. But what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and he also says that, he has no interest in using him for political gain. If people turn to the Qun, who is he to stop them from doing that? It would go against what the Qun represents. And so he has no interest in using him as political fodder, which then, of course, Hawk goes, oh, so we have nothing to worry about. He's just going to hang out here, and that's fine. And so we ask where Seamus is, and he's like, well, he's not here. I don't understand why the Viscount would send you and send a note. And Hawk immediately goes, oh, no.
Again, with the mysterious note. No one should ever trust a note in this game.
Correct.
Like, do you people not learn?
No mysterious notes. All mysterious notes are bastards.
Yes, exactly. It's a trap.
Always a trap. Admiral
always a
Akbar
trap.
is always right. It's always a trap. And so,
And the party immediately knows. The second we hear he sent a letter, we're just like,
great.
Mother Patrice is at her shit again.
Yeah. And so we rush off to the chantry because it's the notice to meet his father in the chantry, and we're like, well, that's not right. He wouldn't want that. I think it's Sanders immediately goes like, why would the Viscount want to meet in the chantry and not in the Viscount's keep?
Yeah.
So
you could argue that it's neutral ground of a type, which makes it trustworthy in Seamus's eyes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think that it is very obviously a trap.
Yeah.
But also Seamus is like 18.
Yeah. So we rush off to the chantry, and when we arrive, we see Seamus kneeling. And when we go to investigate, he falls over. It turns out he's dead. And just at that time, like a true supervillain, Mother Patrice walks in going, "Oh my God, Hawk, what have you done? Why would you kill Seamus?"
Yeah.
Ugh.
The imagery that we're set up with is that of Seamus kneeling as if in prayer. And he falls over when Hawk approaches him to check him. And Mother Patrice is awful, and we hate her, obviously. And the story that she's trying to sell is that Seamus decided not to join the Qun, came to the Chantry to seek redemption, and Hawk interfered as an agent of the Qunari, despite the fact that it is widely known that Hawk works for the Viscount.
Yeah.
A bunch of times. Like, I feel like Mother Patrice... I mean, obviously, Mother Patrice is a fanatic and a lunatic and completely far gone. So logic does not mean anything to her at this point. She knows that she is going to be doing like what she's doing because she firmly believes it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And so of course we're set up to look like we've killed Seamus, and then she sends hired hands and mercenaries she's brought with us to fight us. So there's a battle here, which doesn't amount to very much, is pretty quick. And then after we fight, then of course Mother Patrice brings in the Grand Cleric.
Before we talk about Grand Cleric Althena, I do want to talk about this quote from Mother Patrice. People need the opportunity to defend faith.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because when we're arguing with her, we're obviously claiming, like, why would you do this? And it is clear that Mother Patrice is so far gone that she won't listen to reason. She just assumes that this is the only way to reach people and galvanize people is to commit an atrocity.
Yes. My issue with the concept of people needing the opportunity to defend faith is that people have that opportunity every day. It's just more subtle than Mother Patrice's hammer to the face.
Yes.
Because, all right, neither of us are strongly religious, I would say. You came more to religion in the later years since being with Sarah. But I think that, speaking as someone who is raised specifically as a bad Catholic, you see faith challenges, whether it is to religion or to your moral code or to your ethics, every day out in the world.
Yes.
And those are the moments that are being given to you by what have you. If you believe in a God, if you believe it's just the universe, those are the moments that you can look to defend your faith, because you're defending it to yourself. You're supposed to be interrogating your relationship to faith.
Yeah.
And Mother Patrice has no sense of that. She thinks that everyone's relationship to faith is what she has control over.
Well, and more importantly, she thinks that she has to prove it on behalf of everyone. That everyone's own internal battles are not enough. She she can see the problems. She needs to fix them. It's the
Yeah.
problem with any real life galvanizing religious figures, right? Especially in extreme places, is their need to prove on behalf of everyone else, this is wrong and I must fix it, or I must prove it, or whatever else. And we're getting a sense of that from Mother Patrice, that her insecurities are leading her to throw then her insecurities on top of the entire swath of faithful and try and prove it on their behalf, stand up for them on their behalf, even if they didn't ask for it.
Also, amazing that she incites these people to fight, but she does not fight herself.
Never, not once. Every time it's always someone else fighting on her behalf.
And it's just, interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, she does bring forward Grand Cleric Athena, who, despite her role in the Templar and Mage tensions, she's very funny.
She's very funny, and also, like, I really, because I couldn't, of course, like anything else, I can't remember any of these missions, and so I didn't know how this was gonna go. But the minute Mother Patrice starts explaining what happened, like, you can tell from the very beginning that the Grand Cleric doesn't believe a word she's saying. Like, immediately, like, knows that Hawk's an agent for the Viscount, knows that Mother Patrice has been up to no good this whole time, and doesn't believe a word she's saying, which then makes me wonder why this didn't come to a stop sooner. But
yeah, why didn't she interfere?
Right.
Because Athena says it is as you predicted, all too well.
Yeah.
Like, interesting how this is literally exactly what you said was going to happen.
I mean, part of it might be she needed the proof to haul her off to get rid of her.
That's what I was just thinking as well. Like, maybe the reason why Mother Patrice is still about is the same reason we haven't been able to get rid of her, because she makes sure that she is distant enough from the events that nobody can pin it on her.
Right. But it is clear that she is the conspirator behind this. And the Grand Cleric does believe us when we explain what's going on, which, again, to me, because often these games, when you're betrayed or backstabbed or set up like this, you do a lot of explaining that the person of authority ends up not believing. But in this,
or you have to actively persuade them.
Right. But in this case, she was like, no, I know. You're right. She's terrible. Like, basically agreeing with you the whole time, which caught me off guard, but I was grateful for, because my immediate thought was, oh, great, framed for something else now. Wonderful.
Yeah, she had a couple of lines that I really liked because they reflect how I feel about religion, or at least if I were a religious person, how I think I would be. Eternity is long enough that we need not rush to meet it. So if you're fighting for someone's afterlife eternity, that's going to be a long enough time. We can live our lives now to the fullest.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be overly concerned about what's going to happen to you after you die.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna be what it is. And I appreciated that. And also, Andraste did not volunteer for the flame. Like, you want to make yourself a martyr. That is not what our religious figures did. They didn't set themselves up to be martyrs. They became martyrs because they stuck to their convictions, like, not through conniving or manipulation.
Right. You can't become an icon of faith. You cannot force your way into becoming an icon of faith. It happens because of the deeds and the things you do to set out to protect those you care about. But you cannot force that transformation. You cannot force that point of view. It's funny, like, for all the bitching and moaning we do about the Templars and other things, the two leaders we encounter in this mission do seem to have their head on straight from a, like, 10,000 foot view, right? Like, they seem understanding and caring and want what's best for everyone. They don't seem to be the same kind of manipulators that we see at the lower ranks, whether it's, at the leadership of the Templars or people like Mother Patrice.
But I would like to say that very often that is by design. If you were to draw real world parallels, very often that is something that is very carefully cultivated so that
Right.
you are maintaining a public persona that everyone can relate to and nobody questions or finds issue with. Like, for example, Anders thinks well of Grand Cleric Elthina because he wonders if she might have some influence that could protect mages, but that doesn't really ever go anywhere. And I kind of wish that we had seen more between Elthina and the mages to kind of build up and help contextualize the resentment regarding the chantry for
Yeah.
mages.
Yeah.
I feel like we see Elthina's positive public face, and that's intentional.
Right.
But I would have liked to see maybe what she really thought or contextualize her behavior.
Sure. Yeah. I think that also we are seeing some mix of it, not just her public face here, because again, we're in like there are 5 people here. It's not a public like mass
Right.
or anything.
But
And
we
so
are like the people to
yeah.
her.
Of course. I think her frankness with Mother Patrice is something she would not have shown in the general public, but her like and the quotes you wrote down, like the way she words it, she is still putting a positive healer leader spin on it. She's not just calling her an idiot. Like she is beautifying the words. She is like zhuzhing it up. So she still sounds like herself, but is basically calling out Mother Patrice for her idiocy and her inability to see what her path has caused. It's a really interesting look at this. And I think, especially as we get into Act 3, which we're almost to, the way these things twist and shape gets more interesting. Good, bad, or indifferent. I think the writing really like has shined in places, but really begins to shine as you get closer to the big pivot point of this game.
Yeah. Earlier, when we talked to the Arishok, he made it very clear that there was only one outcome that he would find acceptable. And I can't imagine that outcome involves Seamus being dead.
No.
So, cue a Canary warrior who meets out justice for the loss of Seamus, a member of the Qun, as far as the Arishok was concerned. Vidathari, I think, is what they call them. And I am, like, on the one hand, I think justice was served.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Patrice's execution makes a lot of sense because she committed so many acts of violence that she... Like, Seamus's death isn't really the first murder that she was tied into.
We've
like,
seen the slaughter of many Qunari in her name.
Right. So, like, I think, yeah, she was due to be executed. However, I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
She fucked me over so many times. I wanted to do it.
Yeah. When things are wrapping up and Patrice is standing before us and the Grand Cleric has left, an assassin comes out of the shadows, shoots her in the chest with an arrow and then in the head, and she falls dead. And then, basically this Qunari assassin says what you said, that like we protect our own. She deserved to die for what she's done, which like put the violence of it aside, the fact that the Qunari care so much about their own, even so quickly, even so early, shows a bond that is really strong, that cannot be denied, right? Seamus had not been a part of the Qun very long, and yet they still protected him as if he was one of their own.
Yeah, especially since they have so few allies.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone that comes to them with kindness is precious to them.
Yeah.
But Elthina hadn't fully left because when Patrice dies, Elthina turns to Hawk and says, please go get the Viscount. No reaction to Patrice dying. And I feel like perhaps Elthina knew that was going to happen.
Right. I mean, she's not a fool. She does, even if she plays to the broader of like knowledge and like she's clearly turning her head away from certain stuff. We mentioned the Templars earlier, and so it's clear she had some knowing of this or expected it, even if she didn't know it was going to happen. But you're right, I forgot about that. And then we get one of the more heartbreaking scenes in this game, just watching the Viscount collapsed over his son's body, like just full of remorse and so upset and feeling like a failure. Like we at one point try to bring up the outcome, and he basically says, I don't care. Like, all I care about is how I failed my son. It's just such a good father moment that, again, with rulers and things like this, people of power, we don't always get to see in these games, and it's really well done here.
Yeah. Well, Kirkwall's most okay dad. And he also doesn't see himself as a Viscount any longer. He doesn't see himself as a leader. He's just like, nope, I failed Kirkwall. I failed my son. I failed the Canary. Like, the Chantry is fucked. I can't believe that this happened in, like, the heart of something that we've been protecting, essentially. Yeah. Like, he's just completely done.
Yeah, he's basically having a crisis of faith in himself, in, in the Chantry, in everything. And all he wants to do is mourn his son's death. Like, he is just kind of given up on everything else, which is powerful.
And then we leave the Viscount to mourn.
Yep.
So that's the end of that.
That is.
That's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Yeah, it can't possibly get worse than this.
Definitely not worse. Nothing bad will happen now.
Nothing bad ever happens in the Dragon Age franchise. Nope. Ever.
No.
All right. Now we move on to fan mail. And of course, we, as always, have a message from Callie. So I will play that right here.
Anathara, everyone. Here are some thoughts on episode 32. A fun little detail. Meryl's wooden hala is a visible decoration in her house after Hawke gives it to her. Navigating the conversation with Aveline about the shield was a little intense. I remember feeling anxious about saying something that would unintentionally upset her more. I have managed to avoid that kind of anxiety long enough to have nearly forgotten how it felt. I would also like a non-flirty way to offer to help Fenris learn to read. I love teaching people things, for the same reasons Frankie gives, but want to reserve friend flirting for people I get along with a bit better. Varric's thoughts on Hawke dating Meryl can be neatly summarized as, I love her, but I worry about her. Please be careful. Regarding Sebastian, I agree with Frankie. Nothing to add. And thank you, Matt, for acknowledging that sometimes silence is safety. I am more cautious than most, probably more than I need to be, but that is what my anxiety demands, so any less would be self-destructive. This took me many years to accept about myself. And since we have relatively little to cover this time, I want to take this opportunity to correct my past lore errors. Paul, the Dalish clan member who ran from Meryl into a deadly situation, can be met in Dragon Age Origins by a Dalish warden shortly after he had left an alien age to join the clan. In my comments on Mirror Image, I incorrectly stated that a city elf warden could meet him in the alienage before he leaves. In Zetas, people commonly use the word Kunari for the species of tall horned people, and also for all followers of the Kun, regardless of species. I find this one word where we should have two annoying, but It also is disgustingly disrespectful to the horned folk who reject the Kyun. However, Zenos lacks a contemporary term for the species itself. There is a historical term, Kosith, but unfortunately I had misremembered and have several times incorrectly used Vashoth. Apologies for any confusion either of these mistakes might have caused. As always, many thanks to Frankie and Matt for taking the time and effort to make Reignite. And remember, all Templars are bastards, and they must be abolished. But not all of us are able to fight, and there is no shame in that. So remember also, when our enemy wants to destroy us, survival is more than an act of resistance. If you are still alive, you are winning.
Thank you for that message, Callie. We are so happy to receive it and share it with the listeners. You've become a fixture of this podcast, and we thank you for it. Now, let's move on to Fandom Corner. Frankie, what have you got for us this time?
Okay. It should not surprise anyone to know that I really like puzzles.
What?
I do.
Shock.
It's true. So, to have something that is a fun mystery, but also it's a puzzle that I have to solve as I go along, it's great fun for me. So, if you're not familiar, there is a series called Myrtle. It uses logic puzzles alongside murder mysteries to tell a story of Deductive Logico and his not foil, his sometimes partner, sometimes irritant, Inspector Irritino. It's wacky, it's quirky. There are non-binary characters because non-binary people can be murderers too, as
Yes,
it literally says in the description of the non-binary characters.
Amazing.
If you've never done a logic puzzle before, it is a kind of puzzle that will give you a list of clues, so to speak, or a list of facts, and you take that list of facts and you translate them into a grid. So, for example, you have 3 different colored houses and 3 different people live in them, and those 3 different people have different weapons that they're known for. And you get a list of facts that point you in certain directions, and you have to make deductions based on those facts. For example, if person A doesn't live in the blue house, then, or rather, for example, if person A lives in the red house, you know that person B and C do not live in the red house, right?
Right.
And if you know that the axe belongs in the red house, then person A has the axe. You know, putting things like that together. So I highly recommend the Myrtle books. There is a Myrtle website if you would like to try out doing a logic puzzle online before you actually invest in the books. I think they're funny. I think they're silly. There is definitely some romantic tension between Deductive Logico and Inspector Irritino, because every time Inspector Irritino is a potential suspect, it says something like the softest brown hair or the brightest green eyes or something like that.
Amazing.
It's very much like, yeah, Logico? Yeah? Does he have the softest brown hair? Tell me
I
more.
do love that the names that are Logico and Irritino also is very good. Very
because
funny.
Irritino practices like intuition.
Uh-huh.
So very often Irritino will come out with a clue, and the way that he found it is irrational. So that's why he's Irritino.
Yeah.
But
That's
there's
amazing.
really funny names. Like there's Major Red, there's Captain Slate, Miss Ruby, Mixed Tangerine is the non-binary character.
Nice.
It's very silly. There's a board game as well, and I love the board game because it makes the logic puzzle competitive.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I recommend it. I love puzzles. I love murder mysteries. So those 2 things smashed together, it's a win for me.
Amazing. Definitely go check that out.
You tell me about this Lord of the Rings sounding shit you have on my outline.
It actually has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings.
I'm just saying it sounds like it's Lord of the Rings.
And I get it, but it's not. It's more associated, I think, with Dark Souls and the Souls games. But this is called, what I'm bringing is a video game called The Dark Queen of Morthome. And I'm going to read the Steam description before I talk about it at all. The Steam description is, you are the final boss, the Dark Queen of Morthome, unrivaled in power. Our hero invades and is easily crushed, yet they keep returning. It's a short-form indie game about an unusual bond, perspectives, and the beauty of change. This game I played for the first time as I'm trying to catch up on things for the end of the year and for my Game of the Year talks on Fun and Games. Takes 30 minutes to beat and is $5. It is probably one of the best narrative experiences I've had in a while that challenges the idea of what it means to be the final boss in a game, but also the cycles we go through as a hero and as a villain and what they mean for the people locked in combat. I don't want to talk too much more about it than that, but if you've played a lot of video games that have final bosses with multiple phases and long health bars, like, I think it's worth experiencing. For $5, you can't beat that. And there are multiple endings, I believe, that only vary slightly. You have dialogue choices as the queen that change the conversation you have with the hero who keeps coming back. I really think it's worth your time. I was kind of blown away by it. This is an example of a game doing an art, as they say, like an art piece in video games. I think all video games can be considered art, but there are certain video games that are looking to do or say something.
Like intentionally art.
Right. Things like Slay the Princess, things like Sword of the Sea or Journey, games that have a vibe and are trying to convey a message and make you feel something without necessarily being a deep, lengthy narrative with a ton of lore. Like Dragon Age makes us feel stuff, but there are heavy narrative beats amongst a sea of whatever else that trigger that, whereas focused projects like this, short form stuff before your eyes, is another one I think of as far as games that feel like art but also are a video game, that are really meant to invoke a very specific thing in you. And so this is one of those. It's only on Steam, I believe, right now, but it is, I think, basically any machine can run this game. It's not intense, it's pixel art. So, and there's no voice acting, it's all written dialogue. I highly recommend it. So definitely go check out The Dark Queen of Morthome.
Okay. Still sounds like Lord of the Rings stuff, but I like it.
Okay.
I don't like Lord of the Rings, but I like this. So
We know you don't like Lord of the Rings. Everybody knows.
Are you sure? I need to make sure people know.
Okay. Why don't you tell us what we're doing next?
Hey, we're going to be playing The Quest to Catch a Thief, featuring our favorite bad girl, Isabella.
Yes. This is the inciting incident that will barrel us through the last mission after this of Act 2 and, set us off into Act 3, which is going to be fun and full of flowers and smiles and nothing bad
will ever happen ever again.
Ever. So play To Catch a Thief and join us for the next episode. Why don't we kick off the wrap up and get the hell out of here?
If you like what you heard here, you can follow us on social media. We are at ReignitePod on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Blue Sky as Frankie B. Writes and DJ Stormageddon. Honestly, my username is Frankie B. Writes across all the things, so if you're ever looking for me, that's how you find me.
Please rate and review and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so more people can find us. Truly, one of the best ways you can help this podcast is by writing a rating or review. And most platforms allow for them. That way, when people look up, when they Google Following the Cune or put it in the search bar of their favorite podcatcher, they will find this and not... I don't know, there really is no real world equivalent to Following the Cune that I can do as a fun joke. It just doesn't work.
You would find a walkthrough for this mission.
Probably, yes, in some other podcasts as well. But push us to the top of the list.
If you could get us higher than actual game walkthroughs for the quest, I'd be very impressed.
Same.
We're members of the Certain Point of View Network. You can visit certainpov.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server on the website. Join the conversation.
As for personal plugs, if you are listening to this the day it comes out, I am currently in Philly for PAX Unplugged with Jeff and Sarah Moonen to cover it for Fun and Games. We'll be walking the show floor all weekend. So if you are in the Philly area and coming through for PAX Unplugged, please come say hi if you see us. Other than that, you can, of course, go to djstormageddon.com. My brain sort of works sometimes. And you can find all of the stuff that I do there, the Fun and Games Patreon, which I've been writing articles. I, as of now in November, when we're recording, have written an article for every month of the year. I've done one review every month. I'm going to do one for November as well. And then the plan, my article for December will be my usual top 10 games of the year. So I'm really proud of myself for keeping consistent with that. But if you want to read those writings, you can join the Patreon for free. It costs nothing to see those articles. And Jeff and I are currently concocting for 2026 a new Patreon-only podcast. Then we'll go to the public feed later. More on that as it develops, but it's going to be more focused on specific games and less broad like our other Patreon rewards. So keep an eye out for that.
As for me, I have a website, frankiebwrites.com. Like I said, I'm Frankie B. Writes everywhere. You can hire me for podcasting, writing, voice acting, crafting services, kick me a couple of dollars for a coffee, send me a message. Check out my blog, which I have not been active on because my brain is a very, very bad place. Hopefully I will get to blogging once the court case is over, which will be tomorrow.
Hey.
If you have questions about that court case, go ahead and send me a message. I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. Send Frankie a coffee. They deserve it.
Thank you.
We, of course, would also like to thank the one and only Case Aiken for developing amazing shirt designs that you can find at certainpov.com or on the Teespring dedicated to Certain POV. We also want to thank Case for designing each episode's show art. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Case.
Case, don't forget, Kirkwall's most okay dad, Viscount Dumar. Or I would take a coffee cup. I would take a coffee cup that said Kirkwall's okayest dad.
Yeah, that would work too.
Anyway, we'd like to thank Miracle of Sound for our theme music. You can head over to miracleofsound.rocks and check out Gavin Dunn's other music and merch.
Also, of course, thank you to Red Spinks for our Dragon Age-inspired logo. To see more of his work, you can go to Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
And lastly, thank you for listening. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
And remember, all Templars and secret messages are bastards.
Fight for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero named Hawk.
So Many Games is an independent video game website from a group of passionate people. With a team of over 10 writers doing their bit for game discoverability, you'll surely find a game that will pique your interest. Our reviews delve into the main elements of the game and how they made us feel. With unbased but fair critique and AI-free writing, we hope to offer you a safe place to find out if a game is worthy of your time. But we also write articles from Steam Next Fest catch-ups to topics of interest from the gaming world. And we also publish written interviews from developers to voice actors on our bid to shine some light on the people behind our favourite games. But that's not all, as we also offer a monthly podcast interviewing developers, artists, composers, voice actors, and anyone else we can think of to come and talk about their experiences of making their latest or not so latest projects in real time. With a fortnightly newsletter to go on top of our offerings, there really is something for everybody. So what are you waiting for? Get on over to somanygames.co.uk and see for yourself all the amazing content that we have waiting for you.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.